if I can quote my dear friend Hilary Duff, let's go back to the beginning. Now, my bad if like the framing is off and part of my hair is chopped off because I have the camera too close to me. I don't really think it matters this game. No one cares what I look like. It's about what I'm about to say. Oh Lord. So the Nets are now down 0-2 to the Boston Celtics. Kevin Durant played the worst game I have ever seen from a major star in a major playoff moment. Not since Harden choking in that game 7 have I ever seen such a massive choke job by someone who is considered the best player in the league. 0-10 in the second half is so nasty on so many different reasons. Like, not the fact that he only attempted 10 shots in 2 quarters, but the fact that he didn't hit a single one of them is just, God. Kyrie checked out as soon as he had the fruit cup, and then it was just radio silence. Let me explain to you what happened. We were smacking them around in the beginning of the game, and it was a true team effort. Bruce Brown is still unconscious from 3. Dragic was actually hitting his shots today. Patty hit a shot. Drummond is unguardable. Everyone was playing very, very, very well. And then the Celtics started making their normal push, their usual push, if you will. And fast forward to, I want to say, the middle of the fourth quarter, Kevin Durant just stopped passing the ball. And just, even though he only took 10 shots total the entire second half, it sure felt like he went 0 for 45. I mean, just clank after clank after clank, just clankety, clankety, clank. God, KD sucked. And he wasn't passing the ball at all. I mean, they just kept doing ISO KD, ISO Kyrie over and over again, but none of them hit a shot. And it's like, remember last game when I said I was just going to get on here and just say Steve Nash, and I was just going to explain what type of terrible job he's been doing? This is when we do it. Steve Nash happened. I mean, to literally run the same 2 plays, which is really just one play, into the ground like that, even when it's clearly not working, when the stars you're trying to spam ISO on are just out of gas, and I've heard a bunch of different people have a bunch of different takes, because normally I try to avoid the talking heads, but it's the playoffs, and I want to hear what individuals have to say. Nick Wright has been saying for the last couple of days that the fact that Kevin Durant has been playing like 40-plus minutes a game for the last 2 months, that's going to catch up to him eventually. The same way that we ran Patty Mills into the ground, we basically did the exact same thing with Kevin Durant. Mans is probably exhausted. Either that or he's just not as good as people say he is. It's one of the two, and it is just unfortunate to watch. I'll tell you, I know a lot of y'all wanted me to get on here and scream and be angry, but it's like, what do you even say to something? Like, it was such a colossal collapse. You can't even just blame it on Steve Nash and call it a day. Now, again, this would have been a great time to at least try LaMarcus Aldridge, or at least try Blake Griffin, or at least try Cam Thomas, or at least try Daron Sharp, or at least try playing Kessler Edwards more than 3 minutes. I mean, like, there were a bunch of other things he could have done instead of rewarding Dragic with these minutes for some odd reason, but that's neither here nor there. There were other things he could have at least tried, but he didn't do. But it's like, that alone is not enough to just pin it on Steve Nash, because, God, Kyrie and Kevin did terrible. And even like, and I've been seeing a good bit of Nets Twitter just in shambles. Some people are calling for, we should have never did the Harden trade, either acquiring him or getting rid of him. Some people are blowing the French horn of, oh, Kyrie this and Kyrie that. And well, I mean, I still cautiously stand by the fact that Kyrie single-handedly ruined the season. Like, that's still dangerously close to him flicking off the Celtic fans in self-defense for me to really have a hard stance on Kai. There's just so many different places we can point the blame. I don't think any one stance is a hill worth dying on, because right now we just suck. Like, if we're keeping it a Thawi, we just suck. And the idea that Ben Simmons might come back next game and do what exactly? If we can't get past the Celtics, Okay, let's say Ben Simmons comes back, and that's just the magical needle that we need to be pushed enough for us to get past the Celtics just barely. Do y'all really think we're getting past Milwaukee with what we're seeing here? Again, the whole idea of, well, Kevin Durant's not going to play that bad again. He did. Well, Kyrie Irving's going to remain playing well. He won't take a dip. He did. 10 points. Kyrie scored 10 points. I mean, if it clucks like a chicken, if it flaps like a chicken, if it looks like a chicken, if it smells like a chicken, and if you fry it and it tastes like a chicken, y'all, it might just be a chicken. I'm sorry. Maybe we're just trash. And I haven't thrown in the towel. You know, I would literally just throw it on the floor, but I'm not going to do that. I carefully placed it on the floor. Y'all know I am not immune to throwing in the towel, but maybe Milwaukee fans were saying the same thing in the second round, and then they came back and slapped us around. So who knows? It's far from done. Who knows? Just like Drake said, and it's far from over. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's far from done. Now, if we go down 0-3, then yeah, it's a rippity rap. But I mean, you know, it's not done yet. We still have 2 games at Barclays left. We can turn it around just like the Milwaukee did to us last year. Like, it's possible they can bounce back and we'll be laughing about this. Who knows? But in the current time period, them dudes suck. The loss was so terrible, I didn't even feel like doing the I was right dance. Because this is a perfect time to get on here and slander Kevin Durant. But I won't, because it's just like, God, this game hurt. Stung a little bit. We were getting slapped around so bad, I started feeling good for the Celtics. That's how bad we were losing. I'm looking at them like, man, look at their young squad. Look at Jason Tatum growing up before our very eyes. Look at Jaylen Brown bouncing back from the injury. Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart indeed. Look at my guy finally getting his props. With Gary Payton courtside, man, and look at Al Horford. They said Buddy was done. You know, I was kind of looking at them like, you know what, good for them. Good for them. That is how bad we are losing right now, where I am actually kind of feeling positively about the Celtics as a team. I also have to say that the talking heads are going to destroy us for the rest of the week. Kyrie doing all the stuff that he was doing and then coming back and scoring 10 points, regardless the context, we are getting flamed. Shannon Sharp gonna have a field day with this one. And we deserve it. I mean, we really do, because we suck. It's a shame. It really is. And I gotta say, if this results in us, Lord help us if we get swept. But if this results in us losing in the first round, this might be, I mean, like, you gotta put this up there with the Lakers as far as most disappointing seasons in franchise history. Again, there's a plethora of things we can point at. You know, Kyrie with the vaccine stuff, Harden quitting on the team because of Kyrie with the vaccine stuff, Steve Nash not being a competent coach, Kevin Durant not being as amazing as y'all seem to think he is. I mean, like, there's such a myriad of things to point at. I'm not even like specifically angry about one thing. I'm just literally just in disbelief, word vomiting with y'all, because like, what did we just witness? That was one of the most colossal collapse I have ever seen. I had to check to make sure that the WNBA season didn't start early, and I was watching the dream. I was rubbing my eyes a little bit. I thought I was watching the dream. I mean, to collapse and choke in such a fashion, I thought Courtney Williams was out there. I was like, wait a minute, didn't we send her to Connecticut? I had to check and make sure there wasn't an Atlanta jersey under there somewhere. Pathetic effort. And if that's what they're going to put out there, then, hey, it is what it is. And like I've been saying ever since the play-in tournament started, this is the team that we have. This is the coach that we have. This is how they play. This is what they do. This is our personnel. So for me to sit there a 9 millionth time this season and say, why are we not using the weapons on our Gundam? It's just pointless. I mean, if you've got Dragic and Bruce Brown cannot miss from 3. Seth Curry was shooting well too, and Drummond is unstoppable down low. I just don't get why you run ISO KD and ISO Kyrie over and over again. Like, Steve Nash is the type of Gundam pilot where, like, y'all remember Gundam Wing? He's like the pilot of Gundam 05 Wu Fang. This man is Wu Fang AF, if you will. This man is so quick to hop out the Gundam and pull out his sword and say, hey, yo, but I'd be fighting too. I'd be fighting too. You got like a 20-ton Gundam with a beam rifle and buster cannons and Gatling guns on the shoulders and stuff like that. A gigantic shield. You got all these weapons on this gigantic Gundam, but you want to hop out the cockpit and be like, hey, yo, but I'd be sword fighting too. So quick to jump out the Gundam. That's the type of pilot Steve Nash is. Just so quick to jump out the Gundam. You use the Gundam. You have an entire gigantic robot with weapons. Just artillery for days. And you hopping out the whip like, yeah. You're like the sheriff in the old black and white Western films where it's like high noon and it's like a pistol fight and the sheriff coming out here like this. Buddy, this is a gun, boom. But he coming out there like this. I'm trying to make y'all laugh, I really am, because there's just nothing positive to say right now. I'm sorry. I don't have a witty take. I don't really have much for y'all. We just got slapped around by the Celtics and embarrassed on national TV. And in a game where we were up 20 at multiple points, to then lose by, what was it, like 7? Ugh, that's just embarrassing. And to the Celtics? I will say this, if they mess around and do lose, and again, Lord help us if it's a sweep, we'll address that if we go down 0-3. But if we lose in the first round, and it's not even competitive type stuff, oh, they gonna kill us. They gonna kill us all summer. And I gotta be honest with you, not only would we deserve it, but we got to start having a serious conversation about who we are as a team. Because if it's like a gentleman's sweep or something like that, or we get swept and we lose in the first round, regardless the context, we really have to have a conversation about where we rank in the Eastern Conference. Because it's not a contender. Contenders don't get eliminated in the first round. Now, again, we have plenty of time to decide who we want to blame. My vote is blame Kyrie, but, you know, cool. We have other things to discuss. I'm just saying James Harden right now is probably laughing through his beard. Granted, he fouled out of his game tonight, but at least they are not getting slapped around by a lesser team. Records aside, James Harden's looking like a genius right now, and we are just looking silly. The fact that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving is not enough to beat the Celtics says a lot. Sprinkle in Steve Nash blame in there somewhere. Let me know your thoughts down below. I don't have anything funny or serious to say. I'm just in shock at what I just watched. But hopefully we can distract ourselves with the promise of Ben Simmons coming back. Do I think that's going to make a difference? Honestly, at this point, I don't think so. He should probably just sit this season out, because what is the point of that man coming back if we're just going to get swept? But that is neither here nor there. Hopefully Kevin Durant remembers how to play basketball, and Kyrie Irving enjoyed his fruit cup at halftime. I don't know what y'all